Hello, very dear students and very respected viewers. This is Professor Dr. Zia Ahmed. Once again, screen recording one very small video lecture from my students of BS English. Currently, they are studying with me postcolonial literature. So, one of the texts recommended is God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Here I shall be providing a brief introduction to the whole novel, how it should be read, what are the important things in it, and why this novel is included in the postcolonial studies. So let's enter into it and see what this novel is about. This The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. And this title is very significant. Before we go into that, let's see that the title of the novel is very significant because the one of the things here is the small things. No, this is a very tricky question. Who are the small things? Normally, if we compare it with the big things, definitely we can understand the small things. And symbolically and metaphorically speaking, these are the things which are helpless, which are weak, which are unable to give voice, which are not capable of stressing themselves, which mostly remain under suppression. And then again, it can be some of the desires of human beings, which are very small, but they cannot express it, cannot do that. And as a result, their desires do become small things. And however, some person, some personality, or some power is there which takes care of these things as well. And that's why the title is going to be The God of Small Things. Let's see how these things are possible and how Arundhati Roy has portrayed all this business. So first of all, talking about the author, Arundhati Roy, she's very nice, very, dedicated to literature and to social work, writer and author, and she is the award-winning author as well. She's Indian author, that's right, but the thing which she says is not simply Indian, it is all over the world, and that is why the differences which she tries to highlight between the powerful and the weak, or the colonizer and the colonized, make her text post-colonial as well. And as this text is generated from a country which was formerly ruled by the British colonizers, that is why the text can be termed as the representation of formerly colonized people, and so it's a post-colonial text. Arundhati Roy once wrote, the quote is here, "My mother says that some of the incidents in the book are based on things that happened when I was 2 years old. I have no recollection of them, but obviously they were trapped in some part of my brain." So the text, The God of Small Things, is, as Arundhati Roy is claiming, about most of the incidents which took place in her life. But as she was just 2 years old, it's not possible that she should have remembered all that. But somehow these things, as she says, are trapped in some part of the brain. So it's going to be a memoir. We can say it's going to be a fictionalized memoir by Arundhati Roy. So Roy is trying to say that a lot of things which she will be saying belong to the places, to the spaces, to the people, to the timings, and to the personality which he had grown into. In the text, he will be portraying all these things. So it's not only the voice of the author, it's the voice of the people and the places which were around her at that time. It's the voice of the time as well, which was significant because of her birth or because she was found in that time. So therefore, Arundhati Roy has a very great relationship, very intimated type of intimacy with the text which he has produced. So that is why The God of Small Things is going to be a very significant text. Now, keeping in view this setting of time and space, let us try to see what these things are. Space, as far as space is concerned, most of the story is enacted in Kerala, India, one of the states of India, very famous cities of India, as the map also goes to portray. It is situated around the water body, and it can be said to be the coastal place as well, near the state of Gujarat or any other places. This is very important with respect to the position it has got. This place is significant with respect to the monsoon rains. When they come, they fill up the rivers, and the rivers swell up to some extent. And this swelling of the rivers and the watery bodies is the proof of the killing of that Sophie Mole, one of the characters in the novel. And in the same way, this place, this Kerala, is very much famous with respect to the democracy which is going on here, that the democracy sports the kind of organization which is Marxist or communist government. It has come because of the votes of the people. So this is the state quite famous, quite known with respect to the communistic activities or Marxist activities in the state. So a lot of dominant element of Marxism or communism will be available in the text to be found out, and the rainy season and the impact of rain and the things concerned with rain, the animals and the plants, that will also be available while we go on with the text. In one of the opinion that has been generated about the God of Small Things, let's see what it says, going to be a debut novel of the Indian writer Arundhati Roy. The opinion says, it's a story about the childhood experiences of fraternal twins whose lives are destroyed by the love laws and lay down who should be loved and how much the book is a description of how the small things in life affect people's behavior and their lives. The book won the Booker Prize in 1997. The whole passage goes to summarize or very precisely describe what the novel is going to be about. So, novel is about the twins, two twins, whose lives are very much bound and fixed and limited with respect to the love laws, which we social people, society have invented, and how much troubles and problems can come because of these love laws. These love laws are not only surrounding the lives of this twin, Esther and Rahel, but also every individual in the novel. That they cannot exercise the love, the kind of love they feel for other people, but they have to take care of the laws which govern, the social laws which govern the love matters. So in that way, marriages of the people, running of the marriages of the people, and the liking and disliking of the people for each other, that's going to be one of the dominant themes of this novel. And that is going to make or create the beauty of this novel, because of course where love is there, romance will also be there, and that romance and love become the necessary part of the life of the people. But the people who try to transgress the laws of love, they definitely are supposed to suffer according to the social norms. But then where is the individuality of the human beings? Where is the freedom promised to the human being that he would be? Where is the democracy which is going to take hold of all that? All finishes when the laws, the love laws, which are unwritten constitutions of the society, especially that of the Indian society or even that of the Pakistani society, these love laws make the lives of the people bitter. So that is going to be a very important topic in the text of this novel, the love laws, the making of these love laws, the exercising of these love laws, the following of these love laws, the breaking of these love laws, and the punishment which comes because of these love laws. So love laws are very important place in this novel. Before we proceed to the love laws, in order to see how the lives of people are there, let's have a brief introduction to the characters which are used in this novel. So first of all, if you look at the left side, we have two characters, Mamachi and Papachi. These two characters are the oldest characters here. These are the grandfatherly figures, or I mean grandmotherly figure as well. Papachi is the head of the household, and when the novel begins, we have the description about him that he is a type of patriarch and he would like to exercise authority. He would beat up his wife as well, and he was very angry because one of the works which he did on the moth, on the discovery of a moth that was stolen by somebody else, and he was not given in recognition. So he was the deprived person, and that is why he tried to express his deprivation upon the characters which came close to him. And that was the wife Mamachi, which mostly came close to him. She was beaten up, she was scolded, and she was said wrong words about the family, about the things which she was doing. But on her own, Mamachi is not less than a matriarch. She also tries to exercise her will and her, opinion upon the other people, and makes the life of the people not easy. Up to some extent, she tries to make it difficult, especially at the time when she is independent. So she plays a very big role in the story. Next, we have Baby Kuchama. That's a very complicated character. She is the sister of Papachi, and she is living in the house of Papachi for a long time. In a way, she's going to be the aunt of Rahil and Esther. And this woman is an unmarried woman, deprived woman of love. She tried to have her affair with Father Malikan for some time. She tried to go behind him. She tried to live close to him. She tried to win his love, but she couldn't succeed. And so she was still living unmarried aunt at the house of Papachi, and that's why she's called Baby Kucham. She possesses the characteristics usually some common women may possess in order to disrupt the life of the other or to take a revenge from the other people. Normally, such qualities are ascribed in our society as well to the sister-in-laws of a woman or the mother-in-law of a woman, that the negative type of characteristics are there, and these characteristics are stressed by these people. Nobody gives the second thought why these characters are there, why a woman is behaving like that. Some analysis should be conducted in order to facilitate the lives of such women. Definitely it's a distressed life, it's an oppressed life which they live, and as a result they would like to become or gain the sympathy or importance of people by behaving during certain odd behaviors. All right. And then comes Amu and Baba. These are the sons and daughter of Papachi and Mamachi. Amu is the daughter, definitely. Baba is going to be the son. Amu is the protagonist of the story, in the first part of the story at least, and she is the one who transgresses the boundaries of love laws, and so she is punished very heavily. And her story can be the story of every woman who becomes a widow because of her husband's over drinking nature. So if you look at Baba, he's going to be the husband of Amu. Sorry, he's not going to be the husband of Amu. He's the brother. Sorry, he's not the brother. He's Baba. Yes, Chaco is the brother. Baba is going to be the husband. It's drinker, hard drinker. When he marries Amu, after that, he continues to take a lot of wine. And in one moment of his life, he tries to sell his wife to his boss for the sake of his wine, and in order to facilitate his job, he agrees to the request of his boss that Amu should be left in his home for some time, and Amu disagrees to that, and definitely after that the divorce takes place and separation takes place, and so Amu comes back. So that's the tragic tale of Amu that we shall be following through the whole of the story, and that's the typical man most of the time who enter into the lives of beautiful women who are using them for their own benefit and do not play the role of a responsible husband. So that is why this situation keeps on happening with these people. So here comes Chaco and Margaret. Chaco and Margaret are the husband and wife. Chaco is the son of Papachi and Mamachi. He has got his typical interest and hobbies. For example, plane flying, making planes, the toy planes. That was his hobby, and he gets a very good education in his life as well. But still, he has an unsuccessful domestic or married life because his wife runs away from him for some time. She comes back as well, but still, Chaco remains very positive towards his wife, and one of their kids is born out of Margaret. That is Sophie Mall. It's the child who was drowned. It's one of the cousins of Rahel and Esther. And Sophie Mall is the person who dies like a tragedy in the novel, drowns into the river. That's the big story that we shall be reading. How does she drown, and what was the purpose? What was the purpose of the writer, and how writer has given large details about her death and about her burial. Then comes Veluta. In this picture, we see that Veluta is perhaps some kind of uniformed man. Well, he is the worker. He is the parawan. He's the one who also transgresses the love laws. He's the one who captures the attention of Amu and develops his attention towards her as well, although he was the person who was untouchable and was not required to even talk to the people of high rank, and he was simply a worker. He was supposed to remain a worker. He was not supposed to take interest in the women of the high family, but that family interest was gone in the hands of Veluta, because Veluta proved to be very intelligent, very useful, very good kind of storyteller, and very helpful as well. And that is why the two kids, two kids were very much attached with Veluta. One is Rahel and the other is Esther. These are the kids of Amu. Rahel is the daughter, Esther is the boy. But both become fan of Veluta, and as a result, the importance of Veluta comes in the mind of these kids, and ultimately the same importance is transported to the mother, and the kind of triangle is described, but the social laws and the love laws do not permit it, and as a result, Veluta is given a lot of punishment. So in that way, the Veluta becomes the god of small things, because he tries to protect these things which are small, but ultimately fails because of the love laws, because of the social norms, and because of the very strong traditions and the caste system in India, and the you can say the outfalls of the of the caste system and that of discussions and the rules and the traditions which go on in India for such things that happen to cause the deaths of so many people, and the life of Rahul and Astha become bitter as well because of this. But whatever the case may be, Velutha becomes the protagonist because of his actions, because of his usefulness, and because of the kind of role played in the story. So these are the characters that we shall be coming across. The half of the novel goes to discuss about the life of Amu and then Baba, Mamachi, and Papachi, but half of the novel goes to talk about Rahil and Estha. And in that way, the two stories going side by side. One is the story of the elder generation, then comes the story of the younger generation, and still we can say the third story is going to be the story of Papachi and Mamachi, the senior generation. So stories are within the stories, and the technique which is used here is the non-linear technique, and also it's used like recalling the memory, going back into the memory again and again, and tracing out some of the elements, bringing them forward, linking them together. And some of the characters provide the connecting link as well. For example, Mamachi plays the role of connecting link. Baby Kucham all the time remains available in both the stories. Amu herself is the connecting link, and Rahil and Astha, Sophie Mole up to some extent serves that purpose. But above all, this is Velutha who becomes the connecting link in all the story. So in that way, the plot is though haphazard, but still it is connected. This is the characteristic of the modern novels, and so the post-colonial novels possess these characteristics, and so such characteristics of non-linearity, stories within the stories, that the things go on with that in order to make this novel. So this is all about the characters. Let's talk about, again, repeating the generations. You see, I have already talked about the first generations, that of Papachi and Mamachi. Out of Papachi and Mamachi, the people who are born is Checo, and then it's going to be, Amu, and these people make the relationship. Chaco makes with Margaret, Amu makes with Baba, and the third generation comes forward. Sophie Mole is the daughter of Margaret and Chaco, and then Esthapin, Estha, and Rahil is the daughter and son of Amu and Baba. On the other hand, we have Baby Kuchama, who tries to, engage Father Mulligan, but she fails, and so there is no plus sign there. We have all these plus signs among these people, but here we don't have any plus sign. It means it's well, a type of unsuccessful affair which Baby Kuchama tried to run. So in that way, three generations story takes place. Let's see some of the patterns which Arundhati Roy has introduced in order to complete her novel. If you look at the picture also, we have pictures within the pictures. We have multiplicity, multi-dimensionality of the pictures, and as a result, same thing happens inside the story. So let's first of all talk about the style of the writer. In this novel, the writer has used the non-linear style. I mean, the story's end will come first, or the middle will come first, and after that, the details would follow. The very first chapter provides the little glimpses of the story which is going to be there, but the stories start and end and close and begin in a very strange fashion. There's no regularity in that. That is why the style of the writer is going to be very much non-linear type of style. The language has been used in a very post-colonial manner, that the writers use negation and appropriateness of language and use many principles and techniques of the local native language and apply it to English, and same is the case with the English language, which they confuse with the local indigenous languages, and so new experimentation goes on happening. There are very special use made by this writer. Sometimes the compound words are created, sometimes the compound situations are created. For example, about Amu, the writer says that she died at a viable age of 29, and that age was dieable as well, and she says it was a viable and dieable age. So in that way, the two adjectives have been brought together to give a particular situation. So these examples we can find out in the novel, which are the experimentation and new introduction and innovation of language by introducing new patterns of language. Same is the case with the linearity. The novel is non-linear. The story does not begin from A, doesn't proceed to B, C, and doesn't go to the end of Z. Rather, it has certain parts and chunks of the story which keep on happening and continue to give us details of the story from the memory lane and the flashback. Protagonists are not one protagonist. If we say that Amu is protagonist, then Baby Kuchama plays a very big role. And if we say Velutha is going to be the protagonist altogether, then we have many other details of the other characters too. So in every part of the story or the novel, one person seems to be the new protagonist. So in that way, all characters assume the status of protagonist in the novel. There's no fixed one person hero in the novel, and that goes to show not only postmodern techniques or the situation, but also it goes to talk about the post-colonial text as well. The stories shift very rapidly inside the novel. A few pages are given to one story, and then again new story begins, and the similar left behind story may start at any moment. So there's a very big shifting of the story in the novel. We find stories in the stories, like if telling the story of Papachi, we will be finding the story of Hamachi inside that. And then if we talk about these stories, we'll find the story of Amu, and then the story of Baba. And again, the baby Kuchama story will be there. So there are stories and stories, but they generate from one another. Humor and style is at many places used by the writer in order to convey the real meaning or in order to convey some more lesson as well. The titles of the chapters are mostly very much symbolic. For example, one of the chapters says, "Big man, the Laltan, and the small man as the batti." So in that title goes to show that the protectedness would be there for the sake of big man, but the protectedness will be absent in case of some small man. So in that way, many titles of the chapters are there, parts of the novel are there, which are significantly symbolic and convey particular meaning. So that type of technique and the new patterns of novel have been used by Arundhati Roy. Again come the post-colonial element in that. For example, if you look at the picture, one simple human being is standing there, and the power in the shape of a soldier has been shown there, and the simple person is at the mercy at the kind of discovery or the power of the powerful person with the gun. So these things are definitely making it post-colonial. For example, take us 101, autobiographical memoir, as most of the post-colonial texts are autobiographical memoirs. So as it is claimed in the very beginning of this presentation that Arundhati Roy's novel is mostly memoir, she says that, and so it's post-colonial. Oppression is going on everywhere. All characters undergo oppression. So we have the kind of principle in one of Gandhi's book that she says that wherever the oppression is there, post-colonial is there. So in that way, this again goes to become, post-colonial novel. The stories of colonized and colonizer are there, in which as colonial or the colonizer is on the left side of the binary opposition, he is powerful. A number of incidents take place, which goes to show in the novel that the powerful person is powerful, especially if somebody is having political status, if somebody is having some social status, that person is powerful, other people are not. And the powerful people go to exercise their will on the other. So in that way, the othering and marginalization continues, and that is why it's going to be post-colonial. Same is the case with the movements. Many characters move from one place to the other. Some characters move from one India country to England and then to USA and they come back. So these migrations keep on happening. Migration is also one of the parts of post-colonial theory or post-colonialism. So that is why these migrations make this novel post-colonial. The migrations have influences upon the lives of the people. Their identities, their hybridities grow up, and ultimately the suffering of these people come because of migrations. And so this is going to be some of the details because of which the novel becomes post-colonial. Post-colonial feminism is also present there. How a woman is exploited, how a woman is given the marginalized position, sometimes single marginalized, sometimes double marginalization, and so in that way this comes post-colonial, feministic aspect of the novel as well. Colonial patterns of policing is available. In the first chapter, we have a good definition that the policeman is good, is active, is efficient, is caring, etc., etc. But the thing which is described just after that is he tests someone, he has a baton, and with the help of that baton, he tests Amu's body and looks at Amu like she's a woman, she's not a human being, and it's the body which has become more important. And same is the case of this policeman of dealing with Valuta and dealing with other parts of the society, that is the power dealing with the marginalized people, and that again goes to show the policing of the colonial pattern. Marxism is available, the contribution of Marxism in making people getting equal share in power, in money, in work, that is also existing. Perhaps the writer is referring towards capitalism which is working at the base of colonialism, that can be contradicted only with Marxism. So that's why the theory of Marxism and the element of Marxism is also present there. Arundhati Roy has given voice to the voiceless people. We have number of people who are silent, who have no voice in Indian society. And this is Arundhati Rai, who's come forward, who has given voice to the people like Valuta or like Baby Kuchama or like Amu even. She has given the voice. And so in that way, she becomes a representative of the ideology of Gayatri Spivak, that voice is not heard, first voice is not given, then voice comes, and after that it's not heard. First the subaltern can speak, the question is there whether he can, and even if he can, whether somebody is going to listen to him or not. So all these aspects of the novel make it a post-colonial novel. Some of the themes may be considered. Theme is a thing according to which the story is written. The theme will be lurking behind all the time, it will be available all the time, and it's the type of direction on which the stories are written. Some of the themes in this novel are life of Indian women. Definitely the novel aims to show how the Indian women live in the society, how they are treated, what is their space and place and status in the Indian society, and how they are going to cope with that, and what is the modern situation because of which the women is gaining place, and how then a modern, developed, powerful woman is received in the society. That is also going to be one of the parts, themes of this novel. Class and politics is very much important in this novel. We have been shown the upper class people, the lower class people, and the politics which is going on in the state of Kerala and then overall in India, and that has been shown to us. And the cultural identities of the people are shown. For example, the family of Papachi and Mamachi, these are the Christians, and they are the Christians who are not local. They have come from Egypt and Syria, and so these people have a different identity. They try to maintain their identity, but their identity is most of the time confused with the local culture, and so hybrid situation is also available. The novel is about the small things. I already explained at the beginning of the lecture about the small things, the things which don't have the voice, the things which don't have the power, the things or the human beings who don't have the power to come out of the boundaries and limits and laws specified by the society. Then is the family and the social obligation. That has also been talked about in detail, how one's family exerts itself and how family protects itself and how family destroyed itself, and how one individual is obliged to the family. So in that way, this theme is also present. Love and sexuality everywhere. Some kind of Oedipus complex is also related when the story of Amu's attachment with her son or son's attraction for the mother is talked about. So some of the children's psychology has also been talked about. So these are some of the themes in the novel. There are symbols and symbols in the novel. I already said that the headings of the chapters are symbolic, and there's a sound of music of 1965 to remind us about the war which took place between the two people and the losses, the bilateral losses or collateral damages. All these things are referring to this symbol. Love in Tokyo is one of the bags of fashion, and that is the kind of fashion referred to with respect to Sophie Mole. The importance of these fashions for the girls, and the Coca-Cola sign is a sign of foreign intervention into the local cultures, changing of the local cultures because of this Coke sign. And then Papachi's moth is one of the symbols that goes to show about the discovery, death, and importance of the moth, and the moth bringing destruction in the life of Papachi as well. Then Paradise Pickles and Preserves, the factory. Pickles and preserves can be mostly sour, and they are sometimes sweet as well. So life is sour and sweet, both things are there, and so in that way this becomes also symbolic. Then is Sophie Mole, who Mole is actually a girl. The word used in Kerala for a girl, and so how the girls are there and how the little girls behave and what's the kind of behavior of society towards them, what's the care they take, and these are, and then radio, that brings the world of information towards one's individual's life. And Amo's life, is attached with that radio because she can listen to the music as well. She can listen to the news as well. So in that way, radio is a type of, world, a globe open towards Amo for the sake of information. So radio becomes the window of for Amu to be open towards the society or to the international society, to get a voice of the people and then to give voice to the people as well. So in that way, these are some of the symbols. And here the whole thing enters. Thank you very much for watching. And let me tell my viewers that this was the talk on The God of Small Things, novel by Arundhati Roy. The introduction, the characters, the themes, symbols, postcoloniality, and the newness, modernness of the now. So all these things have been talked about. I hope the people have liked it, and my students have understood some of the things in that, and more they can explore at that time when I'm teaching text to them. And yes, in the end, I would like to say that thank you for watching. But if you people have understood anything out of this effort of mine, do not fail to hit the subscribe button to increase the subscribers of my channel. So here is the time to say goodbye, hoping to see you in some next video about God of Small Thing and talking some more interesting things. So that's it.